There we go. I was talking and I was like, no one's looking. It's because I was muted. I always forget when I get on, like, because I'm on the other one. Okay, so I'm actually excited about tonight. One, it's short. Like, it's very concise. But two, because it's all about dreaming, and that's like 90% of our company is like dreaming bigger. So I really like it. Off subject, but because I see Savannah and Julie both on here, I know you guys drink the coffee. I found a new way to make this that I love, like, more than I have loved any of them. Instead of like over fancyifying it, I literally mixed it with a little bit of water, added like 2 ounces of heavy cream, a little bit of sweetener, and then I just filled my cup up with milk and added ice. Like, instead of adding more water, I just added 2% like regular milk, and it legitimately tastes like something I would get at a Starbucks drive-thru. Like, I was pretty impressed because I am not that easily impressed when it comes to coffee. So yeah, I just added ice to it. Like, I like iced coffee, but I'm pretty sure you could make it warm just by warming the milk before you add it. Just like when you go through Starbucks and they make you a latte, like they warm the milk right in front of you in a frother. So I used to work at, like, I used to be a barista, and literally all they do is put 2% milk inside their little container, froth it with their little wand, and dump it in your coffee. So you literally could do it at home and just maybe not quite have as like fancy a machine to do it with. But I was very pleasantly surprised, put it that way. So I think I'm going to start doing lives again, doing the coffee, because I like them as frappuccinos, but that takes a lot of work to like make them every single day. I like just to be able to dump, and I'm good. So Henny, you're funny. I'm just getting your message. I'll log in on the laptop too. So the concept tonight is beginning with an end in mind. And I think that is, it's something I always thought I was really good at. And I'm very good at setting like big goals and dreaming big. I found recently I'm not very good at like visualizing the little baby steps to get there. Like, I am really good at visualizing $50,000 a month. I'm not that good at visualizing the $10,000 a month mark that I need before I get to the $50,000 a month mark. So even when I'm doing my affirmations, for a long time, I was writing things like, I'm consistently bringing in $50,000 a month. When I should have been writing, I'm consistently bringing in $10,000 a month, because writing too big can actually hinder you, because you start thinking that you've already hit those little goals, so you stop working for them. And I guess I just didn't understand the psychology of that until somebody mentioned it a few Zooms ago when I was on a leadership training, and I was like, well then, I definitely suck, and I thought I was doing affirmations so well. Like, I was saying things like, I'm loving my like indoor-outdoor heated pool, which that's good at visualizing, but doing affirmations, I guess, are not the same as visualizing, which again, that just like my brain didn't connect the two. So what I should have been saying is, I love the new house that we're buying, because like we're in the process of buying our first home, and that's something that we're working on. It's still a goal, but I guess it's like the next goal. We were probably in the same Zoom, Julie. Because I know a lot of times you guys get on the same ones that I do. But anyways, I just kind of clicked for me. So I've been writing down, like, with weight loss too. Like, my goal that I've been writing down is I have about 120 pounds that I want to lose. And now I'm writing down 30. Like, that is my first goal, because that's, I guess 120 pounds just seems like I have forever to do it. So like, what's the rush, I guess? Where 30 is small, and it's like there's more of a urgency behind it. So I'm definitely thinking differently. So Anna, I love that you have $5,000 written all over your house. No, Julie, I do. I am blessed and cursed in the fact. That's awesome. This is inside my planner. I had it on the outside, but because it's just paper, and my planner goes like in my bags and stuff, it was starting to rip and fall off after like a week. So I was like, well, probably should put it on the outside, but I have it plastered all over my house. We had guests come over, and I swear they probably thought I was like I'm so full of myself. One lady's like, why do you have dollars? Like, she's Hispanic, so the translation is lost a little bit. She goes, why do you have dollars all over your house? And I was like, oh, well, it's like manifestation. And I was trying to explain it to her, and I think she just thought I was crazy. But I was like, I'm not going to take them down when company comes over. Like, I'd be taking them down every time people came in my house. So anyways, all that to say, I'm trying to keep up with the chat too, and I'm not very good at that. No, I'm blessed and cursed with the fact that like my mom used to always joke that I'm built like my dad, meaning I'm built like a football player, but legit, like I'm 5'9", I have really broad shoulders. When I was in college and the doctor was telling me like I was too skinny because I was on doing some things that weren't healthy, I was 180 pounds. Most girls I know would not call that too skinny, but legitimately, like you could see my ribs when my shirt was not on. So like for me, I happen to just be built big anyways, but that also means like when I do have the extra weight, I am massive compared to most girls. Like I guess people tell me they don't see it like when they just see me, but if I'm standing next to somebody who's like a normal sized human, I look like a giant. So it helps that my husband is also like 6 foot and really big because I don't look that big compared to him, but so it's not cool when you have to stand next to a giant man to make yourself feel normal size, put it that way. So it's just things that I'm working on. Oh, thank you. I do selfies lots of times for a reason, not a whole lot of body shots. Just saying, you got to work your angles and play what works for you. So the book started with the analogy of a puzzle. And I found it funny because in this summer, I was teaching a group of teenage girls. And one of the things that we did, because we were going through this book, one of the things that I did is I brought in a big 500-piece Disney puzzle. It's from Thomas Kincaid, I think. So it's like real pretty background with like Disney characters in it. And I haven't done a puzzle since I was a kid. I'm not big into puzzles because they take time and I just don't put time toward that right now. But both the girls love puzzles. So we sit down to do it, and they kept looking at the box, and I'm like, I'm getting annoyed. I'm like, why are you looking at the dang box? Like, just put the dang puzzles together. Then I quickly realized it's so much easier to put it together when you can look at the box and figure out which colors go where. So I just found it funny because 2 weeks after we did that, the book talks about setting goals for your life without having like the big picture laid out. It's like putting a puzzle together without being able to look at the box. And I was like, God knew exactly the mindset I needed to go into this lesson the first time I taught it with them. Because before that, I had taught it like to groups of people, so we didn't sit down and do a puzzle together because it's like, you got like 50 kids in a room. This time it was just a handful of us, so it was like a little bit more interactive. But it was just very eye-opening. It put this lesson in a much more real perspective when I had just gone through the frustration of the puzzle. So it was really cool. So the first thing that the book talks about is if you look back over your life over the last year, what is one person that their life was made better because of you? Like, had you not interacted with them at all the entire year, would their life still be the same or would it be a little bit worse? And the first time I did this, several years ago, I honestly had to like really think about, is there one person that like their life would be any different if I wasn't in the picture? Like, yes, we all have friends and that kind of stuff, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like, did you actually make a difference in anyone's life? My life is way better because of you. Hey, yes. And then because a lot of us are moms and we have husbands, so then if the only people you can think of that live inside your house, because it's pretty easy to say, yeah, like my kid's life is made better because of me. Duh. Like she can make her own bed now. She can't make her own food. Like she could barely wipe her own butt, and that's like not 100% yet. So there's lots of things that, yes, her life is made better because of me. So then the next question you have to ask is, who outside of your house have you made their life better in the last year? And then that's kind of like the fuel that you take into the first homework assignment from this is going to be sitting down and writing a letter to yourself. And some of you have already done this because I talked about it in one of our team chats a couple weeks ago, I think. But write a letter to yourself. So you're going to pretend that you are you 10 years in the future. And you're going to write a letter to yourself today. So I'm going to go through mine real, like, very, very fast. But Savannah, the very first link that I sent you, can you copy and put that in the chat? That's going to be the link to the post. So you can go, I'm going to give you 2 seconds to click on it and go read along with me if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine. But that's going to be your first homework assignment for next week. So write it down. You're going to write a letter to yourself. You're going to pretend you're 10 years in the future, and you're going to write back to yourself. So mine started out saying, holy crap, 10 years ago, I would have never, if you would have told me where I'd be today, I'd probably say that you were crazy. Glory is excelling in school so well that we've been able to keep her up to date with her peers and visit every state in the country as well as a few other continents. So this is where you are dreaming. Like, 10 years is a very long time. The saying goes, most people underestimate what they can do in 10 years, but they overestimate what they can do in a year. And I'm guilty of that. Like, when I started this business, I told my enroller I'm gonna be diamond in 6 months. And guess what? That didn't happen. I was gonna be ambassador in like 2 years. Like, but you know what? In 10 years, my dream wasn't very much bigger than ambassador, which doesn't make sense because if I'm gonna be ambassador in 2 years, in 10 years, I should have been like quadruple black diamond by my logic. So you have to dream, like, get out of your comfort zone and figure out, what do you want to do in 10 years? So for me, we're traveling all over the dang country and the world, and we're probably going to take Savannah and Janice with us for some of it because why not? Like, y'all want to travel and we can work from our phones together. So, and anyone else who is full-time by then and wants to do it, like, we'll just do some traveling. Her communication skills are on point. That's huge for me because I know a lot of adults that do not know how to communicate with each other. So, like, that's a tool that you need to teach your kids. And then I throw in there, she's far from perfect because she's going to be 15. I'm sure I'm going to want to, like, punch her in the face a lot of times because that's what teenagers do. But she comes to Brett and I with tons of questions and thoughts without any fear or judgment. I'm glad we kept the line of communication open with her, even when the ideas differ from ours. Savannah knows what I'm talking about. So a lot of Christian parents, their kids can't come and talk to them about anything without being told basically that they're bad for thinking it. And that is not, like, I've already went through this with one teenager. This isn't my first rodeo, so to speak. So this is the first time I'm doing it from, like, the baby stage up. And I want to keep those lines of communication open. We do our best to address concerns with scripture and logic because we know it's not enough for her just to know what God's word says, but also to see real life examples of what happens when we choose not to do it God's way. Now, for me, I have plenty of those examples of people to point her to. So some of y'all may need to look and, like, maybe go to, like, I don't know, take your kid to homeless shelters and, like, volunteer and do good there, but also use it as an example of these people made choices that got them there. I understand there's a very rare where someone's homeless and it was like nothing that they did, something just happened. But most of the time, they made choices. And in homeless shelters, it's not just homeless that they're going to see. They're going to see drug addicts and former drug addicts and, you know, thieves. They're going to see things that a lot of Christian parents want to shelter them from. Why not show them the example of this is what could happen if you choose not to do it the right way? And trust me, that fear will be a healthy fear because it's attached to something instead of just saying, oh, God's going to punish you. Like, you don't want your kids to be scared of God. That's not the point. But there are very real life consequences that happen when you don't make your decisions based on the Bible. And I know that's, like, heavy, but that's part of this. Like, for me, a huge part of my why and my 10-year vision has to do with my kid. And then I end it by saying we have the most amazing time getting to raise her and pray daily that she allows God to use her in a big way. And the reason that I end it like that, I never want to be that parent that makes my kids' decisions for them. Like, we were talking with another parent a couple months ago, and the husband made the comment of, yeah, when like their oldest kid, I think, is like 5th grade or something, and they have several of them. Oh, when they're older, we'll just send them to Pensacola. I was like, how arrogant are you that you're just telling your kids where they're going to go to college? Like, are you not going to let them like follow God's leading at all? You're just going to send them where you want them to go? And I literally, I was like, I just want to smack you right now and like, wake up. This is not what God wants, how God wants you to lead your family. Like, you lead them in helping them make decisions, not telling them what they have to do when they're adults. Anyways, like I just get very passionate about that subject. And then, so my first paragraph's all about my family. Second paragraph is a little bit more selfish, I guess. It says, our business is doing better than ever. We've been consistently bringing in $100,000 a month, 100,000 plus a month for the last 5 years. Which means Black Diamond in 5 years, and then we're going to work from there. Like, I didn't wait 10 years to vision myself at Black Diamonds. The money's given us so much freedom to serve others, and Brett's passion for the homeless has been funneled into a ministry that started locally and is now helping the homeless on a national level. I don't know why he has a passion for the homeless. I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't understand it. Like, I don't have it. But I think it's amazing that this business is going to let him like start homeless shelters, but kind of like a boys and girls program type thing. Tell Eric we can all see him without his shirt on. A boys and girls type club for homeless people. Okay, and then it said, as for me, I'm the best-selling author not once, but twice now. I've had the opportunity to share the stage with great minds like Tony Robbins, Ray Higdon, and Denise Walsh, as well as headline over a dozen TED Talks myself. I must admit, being the keynote speaker of national homeschool conventions has been my favorite place to serve. Of course, Glory gets to travel all the events with us, and it's amazing to see leadership skills she's picking up herself. Because again, like, everything that I do, I want to trickle it down to my daughter. So she has so many options when she gets old enough to actually do this stuff. Okay, so Savannah, you're frozen, but now you just came back. And then I said, if you dream it, you can truly achieve it. We're coming to the close of our parenting chapter, because I also started getting emotional, because in 10 years, my kid's going to be 15, which means I only have 3, maybe 5 years left with her. I realize like the age differs when kids leave the house. But like, I was like, holy crap, like, I don't want to visualize this anymore, because I don't want her to leave yet. But that's part of it. And part of it is me visualizing, how is my marriage going to be when my kid is no longer there? Because so many parents, and I've seen this over and over, their whole world for the mom becomes the kid. When that kids leave and they're empty nesters, there's no relationship with the husband, because their whole world has been their kids. So that's something that I don't want to say I almost knocked my coffee onto my planner. That would have been a very expensive mistake. It's over there. I don't want to say I'm scared of that happening, because we're taking so many precautions to make sure it doesn't happen, and our family is balanced like it should be when it comes to the relationship part. But I've just seen it happen so many times that it's in the back of my mind when I make any kind of decisions, like making sure my kid is not the center of my world. Because guess what? In 18 years, she ain't going to be there no more. So, like, I'm not going to follow her to college and live in her dorm room. So, oh my gosh, my kid is listening. She's watching something that's in the living room, and I just heard her say, "What, Mom?" She's eavesdropping at my dang door. Little. So your homework is to write a letter like that to yourself. And to realize that every single decision that you make today is going to affect that. So like, for example, I know a lot of us are in the business that we're doing together. I know there's a few people that aren't, that I see on here, but most of us are. So I'm just going to use that as an example. If you truly want to be Ambassador Diamond or above in 10 years, which absolutely is possible for every one of you on here, the decision that you make today to watch 5 hours of Netflix instead of go to bed so you can get up tomorrow and actually work is going to affect that. Savannah, I wasn't talking to you, I promise. She's like, wait, what? I'm talking to myself on that. That is like the thing I struggle with the most is freaking, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how many times I get sucked into stupid, crappy drama shows. Like, yeah. We're just going to go on from that subject. So the second homework is writing out what your roles are. And this is going to help you write out your 10-year goal also. I don't have time to watch TV. You shouldn't have time to watch TV. That's the point. But a lot of us are too lazy. And the time we should be spent working, or the time we should be spent pouring into our families, cleaning our houses, raising our kids, we're spending in front of the television, or we're scrolling Facebook. And I'm not even talking about working your business. I'm talking about mindlessly scrolling and you're not even get paid for it. I used to be guilty into that also. Savannah, can you drop in that second link? The second link that she's going to put in the chat, and you guys want to copy and paste these onto your notepad or something, because once this Zoom ends, even if you watch the recording, you cannot get to the links anymore. When I do finally post this, I will make sure that the links are attached on YouTube, but I'm just saying, like, usually there's a little bit of time span by the time you're on here live and I actually post it. So the second one that she is posting, that is the actual, oh, what did I just do? Okay, you look puzzled, Savannah. So I was like, crap, did it not go through? That's the link to a post I put up this morning, and I didn't even plan on using it for this Zoom. It's just something that came to me when I was doing my devotions. And I was like, oh, this would be like a good thing to share with people. Is balance versus balanced versus centered. I don't know. I think it's versus. How I don't believe that balanced is a thing. And it's not that I don't believe it. Like, it's been proven over and over. Balanced is not a thing. Centered is. And the post kind of talks about that. I'm not really going to go over it. I also have a video, balanced versus centered, on my YouTube channel that you're welcome to watch after this. But something that helps me is knowing what roles I actually play. And then, so the first part of the homework is writing out your roles. So for me, it would be mom, wife, leader, student. Student being, because realistically, if you're a leader in any capacity, you should always be a student. And I'll explain that in a second. Teacher, homeschool teacher, and then teacher, volunteer teacher. And then Christian. So I kind of just looked at all the different hats that I wear. And I asked myself, like, what roles do I actually play? And then I wrote them down. Then what you want to do is you want to write down 1 or 2 things that on a weekly basis for the next 90 days, you need to be doing to fulfill that role. And these aren't really, they're not a to-do list. It's more of like, this is my goal for the next 90 days, like what I'm going to focus on. So as a mom, I'm focusing on teaching my daughter to control her emotions. That's one thing that we're consistent on. And we're also working on salvation. She's 5, like she's almost to the point of that, but not yet. And it excites me and terrifies me at the same time, because I don't know like how far to push her. Like, I'm not going to just pray with her and like have her memorize the answers. And if you've never been through that, like I know some of you have, some of you haven't, like when your kid is on the cusp of actually getting saved, it kind of sucks, because I wonder, like, am I doing it right? Am I doing enough? Am I pushing too much? So we just kind of like remind her and like talk about it every day, and hopefully like it'll click. As a wife, keeping my house clean and date nights. My husband's love language, as sexist as this sounds, because he's the one who likes the house clean. His love language is acts of service. So that's like his main one. So for me to show him that I love him, it's by keeping our house clean. And I know, again, it sounds sexist, but you know what? Whatever your spouse's love language is, regardless if society tells you it's like taboo to do it, you probably should not listen to what other people are saying and like listen to what your spouse wants. Now, to reverse that, one of my big acts of service is also, or one of my big love languages is also acts of service. So randomly, like my husband's working like 80 hours a week right now. So I don't expect him to clean our house. Like I do everything for him. Yeah. She said she never heard it put like that. I've read so many love language books. It's dumb, but it's just very basic to like think about it on a level of what am I able to do for this person versus, man, I hate the fact that he wants me to do this. On Saturday, what day was it? Friday, I think it was Friday. Yes, it was Friday. Because I don't know. I don't remember. I think it was Friday, but now I'm second. No, just kidding. It was Saturday. I'm like, my husband works all the time. When did he do this? I went to bed Saturday, no joke, at like 7 o'clock. I had a headache all day long. I just wasn't feeling good. I told him, I was like, you know what? Like, we had an early date night because I knew I wasn't feeling good and probably wasn't going to make it very long. And then I went straight to bed. The house was not bad, but like usually Saturday nights I clean it instead of doing it Sunday morning because Sunday morning's busy in church. So I get up Sunday morning, the house is already clean, and it just helps me have like a peace of mind to be able to, you know, get ready leisurely. And he knows that. Well, I didn't clean the house Saturday night. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning on Sunday because I knew I wanted to clean my house, do my laundry, and do the dishes before I got ready for church. So I got up at 3, walked into the kitchen, and I'm like half asleep. You know how it is when you first wake up. Like, you don't really notice things. Or I would have noticed that the bathroom was straightened up when I used the bathroom on the way to the kitchen. I would have noticed that the living room was straightened up and like dishes were put up. Because usually my husband leaves like containers and like cups by the couch when he's watching TV. And then I walked in the kitchen and I go to load the dishwasher and I was like, and then it clicked. Like, he had stayed up and he had cleaned everything for me. So it goes both ways. Like, I'm not telling you if you're a wife, you need to go make sure your house is clean all the time. Just whatever love language that your spouse speaks, like, you need to do that. And it's the same thing, you know, with your spouse reciprocating. So all that to say, that's my like wifely duties that I have on there. As a leader, my big goal is getting that $10,000 a month mark. My goal is to get that before conference. And that's a freaking huge goal. Like, it scares me, but it also makes me work so much harder. Student, my goal is to read 2 books a month. It was 1 book a month when I started this year, and then I added on to it because I've been doing it a lot more consistently. As a homeschool student or homeschool teacher, my goal is to be able to get 4 days a week of actual work in. So what I do, I know I'm going to have homeschool moms that watch this, so I'm just going to show you real quick. Every time I finish a lesson plan, I write out my plans per week. So this is all the different subjects, and then the days are on the side. So I write them out 5 days at a time. Now, I usually do that Sunday night. So that means the next Sunday night, if I have not done everything on that list, I'm not going to take time to like transfer them onto a new list. I'm just going to keep going until that list is done. My goal is to get 4 complete days of work done per week. I only write them out 5 out a week because that's what my planner says. So I'm not going to waste paper. I just am not that. I try not to be that controlling of, oh, the date is wrong. Who cares? Like, she's still doing the work. So that's my goal, is to get 4 days done in a 7-day period. And then we usually do like a field trip or something. Volunteer teacher, my goal is to actually get my lessons prepped a week ahead of time. And I usually do pretty good at that. Right now, I'm only teaching 2 classes, this one and a kids class. And I try to prep it a week ahead of time so I can like pray over it the next 4, 5, 6 days and actually like be excited when the lesson comes. Because I promise, I've been under teachers that you can tell they prepared 5 minutes ago and there's no passion behind what they're saying. And I hate those classes. So I don't want anyone to have to sit through that because of me. And then as a Christian, obviously my goal should be sharing the gospel. And I have to look at that and say, am I doing a good job with that? And right now the answer is no. Like, that's probably the lowest part on my list right now, is the thing I'm doing the least in. And I'm thinking of different ways I need to start implementing, like doing a better job at that. So it really, again, it just helped me open my eyes. Oh, and then under leader, I also have, again, by February, I want to have 25 people that I've personally been able to help hit that $500 a month mark. Now, I realize 10,000 to 500 is a huge jump, but not everyone comes into this wanting $10,000 a month. Some people really just want extra money, and that's fine. And I had to that was the hardest for me to realize, is I have to be okay when people don't want full-time income. Like, That's okay. It's not a huge deal. You can make whatever you want to make in this business. So one thing that I have to constantly remind myself of is when I'm presented with a choice, and more specifically, when you're presented with an opportunity, if it doesn't help you get closer to one of those goals, you should feel okay saying no. The biggest, like my biggest eye opener with this is when I started this business, I knew I wanted to do full-time income because I didn't like the kind of job I was working. Well, no, that's a lie. I loved my job. I didn't like being away from my kid and not making the amount of money I wanted to make. Right before I hit Diamond, I had an opportunity to take a raise, more money, also more responsibility, but it was pretty enticing because it's guaranteed money, right? How many times do you hear, oh, I don't want to do this business because it's not guaranteed. I don't get paid to clock in. And I had to ask myself, okay, why am I really doing this business? Is it just for the money, or is it for the time and the freedom? Because taking a raise at the office and having more responsibility was not going to give me more beach time. And I wanted time to actually like do what I wanted to do and love and live my life. So I turned it down. And I thought I was so stupid at the time. I was like, what am I doing? But you know what? Looking back, like that was the best decision I could have made. So you really have to just take into account whatever decision that's coming up. Like, should I actually be doing that? Like, is it going to further the goals that I've set for myself? And then also the friends that you allow yourself to be around. Those friends, are they furthering your goal and your vision and what God has for you? Or are they hindering you from it? Again, not easy decisions to cut people out of your life, because how many times are we told you should be kind? Like kindness is the most important thing. No, it's not. When you're enabling people to not be the best versions of themselves, you're not being kind. You're being politically correct. All you're doing is allowing them to hide behind whatever excuses they're making to keep doing the things that they're doing that are keeping them the same place that they've been in for the last 10 years. And I know Christian circles, that is not popular to say, but that is the truth. God did not put us here to enable each other to keep doing the things that, you know, keep us in our comfort zone and keep us as lukewarm Christians. Because what does the Bible say about lukewarm? He spits it out. He would rather you be cold and do nothing for him than to be lukewarm and just comfortable in what you're doing. Either be hot and be on fire and like literally always be striving to be the very best Christian that you can possibly be, or get the heck out of the way so people who are on fire can do what they're supposed to be doing. So that is it for tonight. I know that was like a whole lot in one little thing, but make sure you have those links saved. I'm going to let this run till it runs out just to give you guys a few minutes to save those. And then next week when you come back and we talk about the homework, like there's something else tacked onto it. So you want to make sure that you actually do both those parts of the homework. Otherwise, when we talk about next week, you're going to be like, what the heck? I don't know what I'm doing. That was supposed to be for the end of it, but we ran out of time. So it'll be what we talk about next week, the link. It's the mock schedule, but you've got to plug in your roles. That's how you come up with your mock schedule. So I just kind of wanted to go over that a little bit more, because I know some people watched the mock scheduling video and didn't completely grasp like how to figure out what their to-do list should be, which I didn't think about that, but this is how I was taught how to do it a long time ago. So kind of implementing that in there. All right, so yes, I knew it was in the Bible. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not good with references. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I can't spit out verses very well. I'm working on it as I'm helping my daughter memorize stuff. But I know I heard it preached on a lot of times, and I know that it's in there, and, you know, I know God's view on it. I just couldn't tell you exactly where it's found in the Bible. And how many minutes do I have left, Savannah? Really? Okay, just kidding. If there's 4, I will see if I can get this last thing in. I thought it was closer to like 1. So we'll see how much more of this I get. Go ahead, if you don't mind, Savannah, put the last link in there so people can copy it, even if we don't necessarily get to it. The link she's going to put in is a video on how to make a mock schedule. So we probably won't talk about it next week. Once you write out your roles, then you can go over and make a mock schedule, and it just helps you stay on task and like prioritize. So something else I heard this week is if you don't change it, you're choosing it. And that is very hard to grasp or very hard to swallow when you're saying things like, well, I'm just broke. Okay, broke's a choice. You've been broke for the last 3 years. You've been following me and asking me to do this and wanting to change your life, but you always cry broke. At some point, you're choosing to stay broke. And that's like, and it's the same with being overweight, guys. Like at some point, it went from me having PCOS and me having anxiety to me choosing to stay the way that I am because it's been longer than a year. So at some point, you got to take ownership for how you are and the choices that you have made and then fix it. One thing the book talks about is interviewing somebody who, like, about what they did in high school. But for us, like, we could all be that person interviewing ourselves. When you were in senior in high school, you probably had really big dreams. And just drop me down in the comments, are you doing what you thought you'd be doing when you were a senior in high school and you had the big dreams of what you were going to be doing in 5-10 years? Yes or no? Savannah's like, I don't know what I thought I'd be doing. I was going to be a teacher in a public school, and if you've ever seen the movie Freedom Writers, that was going to be me. If you have not seen it, go watch it. Freedom Writers and Coach Carter, both amazing movies. They will like blow you out of the water. I didn't take into account that I was going to have my own kid. I didn't take into the account the feeling that I would have going and teaching other people's kids and having someone else raise mine. So, you know, it's funny how in high school and you think that you know everything because you're like a big bag 18-year-old, or for me, like 16-year-old, but still. When I've actually graduated, because again, I didn't actually graduate, I got a GED. So technically not even a senior in high school. But when I started college, I thought I knew everything. And I thought I knew where I wanted my life to go. And they were really good visions and good dreams. But a lot of times God has a different plan for your life, and he's just going to use some of those talents that you were so passionate about back then. So the last part of the homework is creating a mock schedule for yourself. So I guess we did get it all tonight. Sorry, I wasted like 30 seconds in there just waiting because I really thought we didn't have a lot. I can't see my time. So write out your 10-year letter. Write out your roles and write out your mock schedule. It will really help you look at the big picture and know what to say no and what to say yes to when you have all of that done and you know exactly where you're going. All right, I'm going to hop off here. I will get this posted tonight. I'm saying that because I'll make myself do it if I tell you I will. And I'll post all the links so that way if you want to go back and re-watch this, because this is a lot to do in 1 week, and I know that. It's like a lot of meat in one section. You can go back and watch it as many times as you want. So have an awesome rest of the week.